So Ranger 17, is he really that bad? Well, why don't we take a look? I am going to show you that Ranger 17, despite being among one of the most controversial, if not the most controversial DLC character in the entire game, I'm going to show you right now that he is not nearly as bad as you might think. Now, some people might think, yes, you are coping so hard right now, stop. No, I'm not. Honestly, I would say that at a high level, if you have the custom variant of this guy, which I do, he is definitely a top 30 cast at the very least. He is extremely versatile. He's very good at fighting up close. If you are somebody who likes to throw hands, as the kids like to say, this guy excels in that a lot. He is fantastic for getting up close and just beating the crap out of his opponent. Now, why do people think that he's so bad? Well, at one point, this combo just straight up would not work. When he was first put in the game, it was broken and so slow, it was like this. It was like ridiculously slow. That it would drop almost every time you tried to do it. Which was a huge, huge weakness that people like to exploit. And then the other thing that is bad about him is the fact that his skills are sealed. Whenever this Super Soul is activated, you are nerfed, and your skills are sealed, allowing somebody to do something like this. And raw break you. Because the only thing you can do at that point is vanish it. You cannot evasive. You can only vanish. Or worse, if they do something like this to you, well... Wait, hold on a second. Somebody can do something like this to you, and you would not be able to do a thing about it aside from limit burst, of course. And that was a very bad aspect about him. And it's still a weakness. It's still a weakness that he has, but it's honestly not that bad anymore because he has a lot more HP at 160. And as long as you are good with conserving your stamina, you don't have to worry about somebody doing that to you anymore. And then finally, the other aspect that people don't like about him is the fact that he only had one new skill, and that is Rough Ranger. And it's a very high risk, high reward counter that if you do miss, you're getting raw broken. So people didn't like that. But with the advent of a custom variant and the fact that they fixed this combo, at 160, this character is actually a very solid pick for a melee-focused playstyle, in my opinion. Not as good as Caulifla. Caulifla is a whole different level of just all-out beat your ass. Like she is the epitome of not letting your opponent breathe. She is fantastic for that. But 17 is not far off. While not being completely overpowered, he is also not terrible anymore. The people that think he's terrible, they think he's terrible because they try and do stuff like this. Now online, if you do this, and then go into triangle, immediately, that will whiff almost 80% of the time online, even in great connection. Do not ever do that. Ever. And whenever you're behind them, don't try and do stuff like that either. because obviously that's not going to work, because it's a side switch combo. You only want to commit into that whenever you are close to the top of the map, because whenever you're at the ceiling, obviously his combos are more likely to connect. And that is where his true strengths lie. He has the ability to keep you looped for so long when he has you at the top of the screen. If you know how it works, you can keep your opponent in a loop almost indefinitely. See, he's honestly not terrible. And on his custom variant, you have stuff like Ki Blast Cannon and freaking Smile Charge, which Smile Charge is just disgusting. And you're able to land that so easily. And I should also mention that he has one of the easiest stamina breaks in the entire game. If you delay it a little bit online, that does work. It is incredibly fast, and it is incredibly reliable. A lot of people don't know that you can do this. I'll show you again. All of those uppercuts can lead into a break, because his break is an uppercut. It shares the same animation as all of the other combo inputs. I don't think you can do a heavy. I'll try that real quick. Hold on. Actually, that does work. You can even get a heavy stamina break off with it if you do it really fast. And if you're at the proper angle. Really reliable windows to break your opponent's stamina. Very fast and not easily reactable. And at the floor, it's even more consistent because your opponent's going to bounce a little bit. And at the ceiling is easily the most consistent method. Because obviously, when you're at the ceiling, you don't have to worry about them taking forever to fall down. Now, it doesn't work with that. But it does work with the uppercuts that knock your opponent really far in the air. Also, be careful about that right there, as you saw. That can often whiff as well. That's why you really gotta just be careful how you use those uppercuts. He also has really good break windows up at the ceiling that don't involve that. You can just get it. You can net yourself a little bit more damage, and as you can see right there, despite the fact that he's launching your enemy does not have a lot of stamina recovery speed increase because of the way his combos do a heavy stun. That was a very long combo before a break, and he did not have enough time to evasive. And you can see he does a lot of freaking basic attack damage. My Super Soul is nerfing me right now. And look at how hard he hits. His basic attack stat is incredibly high. And that allows him to do really high damage when at the top of the screen. Now, when his Super Soul is activated, on the other hand, well, let's see. When the Super Soul is activated, and no longer nerfing him, you see how much levels of DPS this guy is capable of dishing out? Really fast, too. He does such high amounts of damage for how quick his combos are. And the fact that he can link supers like Smile Charge after those heavy stuns, whew, of course, Ki Blast Cannon as well, it really makes him quite lethal. And people will write him off regardless, because they don't understand how to actually combo with this guy. And the way that you combo with this guy is, the game plan here is to always get your opponent to the ceiling as quickly as possible, which he has the perfect combo string for that, in the form of his little uppercut light chain. His light chain uppercuts are perfect for carrying your enemy all the way to the ceiling, where you need to be in order to do all of your big loops and high damaging combos consistently. It's almost like he was built for this. I'm not saying he was, but the way that he functions almost feels like he was built to thrive at the top of the screen. Because otherwise, your combos just kind of whiff weirdly online. But whenever you're at the top of the freaking screen, those combos pretty much never whiff online either, unless you're in bad connection, of course. He's honestly not terrible, guys. Now let me show you what his custom variant can do.
この島の動物たちを守るのは俺一人で十分だ。
His custom variant is incredibly strong, because he's given access to many good skills, which he just simply didn't have in his basic kit that he had in his base variant. I mean, his base variation, excuse me, just did not have the it did not have the power that a lot of these other skills have. Particularly things like Power Blitz, Ki Blast Cannon, and Smile Charge. These things are disgusting when you use them on this character. Super Soul is activated now. Now just look at this. And I'm not even using a high super attack stat setup. With my custom Ranger 17, my custom Ranger 17 isn't even using like the most optimal thing for damage. And the Super Soul that he has, honestly, whenever you play with him, it kind of teaches you how to rely on your basic toolkit more than your supers. I tell you, when I say that he is supremely good at just throwing hands. Because there have been times where I have just gone an entire freaking match without using a single skill. Because my opponent just cannot keep up with me when I'm just throwing hands. They don't even trigger the Super Soul. Because they can't get my health down that low. He also is incredibly fast with his Ki Blast cancels, and his uppercuts can all be step canceled extremely easily. But here's my stats. That's speed type. Now, if you wanted like the Ki Blast, if you wanted the Ki Blast cannon to really hurt, you'd use this instead. You'd use the Ki Blast Super Type B, and that would make that Ki Blast cannon and that Smile Charge both really hurt like hell. Now, the Super Souls that he has access to, he actually has access to a lot more these days. But at one point, his best one was definitely Time to Get Serious, I guess. And I use this simply because of the fact that, look at that stat increase. Whenever your health is below 75%, that is abysmally low. That is abysmally low. It's almost not even noticeable how low your health needs to be for this to activate. And it gives you a movement speed of a whopping 20% and a 25% strength increase to all of your attacks. And it has Super Armor Limit Burst. Need I say more? That is easily one of the most underrated Super Souls in the entire game. Nobody uses it because of the fact that you have to let yourself get beat up a little bit. But dude, if you just let yourself get beat up a little bit, dude, he can absolutely demolish your ass because of how powerful this Super Soul is. He's honestly a very underrated cast. And I don't understand why so many people want to write him off as being terrible. Whenever he can do so many things to demolish health bars, very fast, reliable stamina breaks, a super armor limit burst, and one of the most powerful super souls in the game. What more can he ask for? And he has other options, of course. Wait, where is he? He has other options, of course. He has Shockwave, Freedom Kick, Super Drain, which honestly I would never even recommend using this skill compared to its Xenoverse 1 counterpart. This skill is pretty much useless. It only gives you like half a bar of stamina. Deadly Dance is actually a really good choice. Meteor Blow, Meteor Strike, Meteor Crash, those are also really good choices. Android Rush. Honestly, Android Rush, this skill I'm not entirely sure if it's terrible or just a little bit weird to use. But it's honestly not. It's a skill that I'd recommend at least trying. Consecutive Energy Blast, obviously really stupid. Side Bridge, like I said, it doesn't really connect well with the way his combo strings work. Flash Bomber, to be honest, it's nice that he has access to it, but this skill really just does not suit his combo strings at all. Thunder Racer, obviously, kind of trash. It's not really that great. Endless Shoot, really good. And he's got After Image. He obviously doesn't have that many utility supers. He's only got Charge, Key Wave, After Image, Drain Field, and obviously all the charge skills. But his ultimate attacks, he's actually got Shock and Death Ball, which is decent. Dead and Rain, this one's honestly kind of trash. Hell Flash, if you can get it off, this thing packs a wallop. And you've obviously got Full Power Energy Wave. You can never go wrong with this. This is easily one of the best ultimate attacks in the game. He's got instant rise, thank God. Energy field is honestly not a terrible evasive skill. This thing, because it keeps you stationary, most people don't use it. But dude, this thing literally nullifies everything. Basic attack, strike, key blast, grabs, everything is nullified by this evasive skill. It completely makes you untouchable, as long as you have ki to hold it down. Just like something like Punisher Guard. And his stat allocation options are decent. The key type C is decent. Speed type is what I run because, like, seriously, the fact that you can have a whopping 20% speed increase when his Super Soul activates, on top of having speed type A, that is disgusting. The amount of speed you can have with this guy, on top of being able to dish out so much melee damage. Because look at that freaking basic attack stat. Sure, you're going to get more out of it with this type, but dude, and of course, if you're a faggot, you could use technical type, but why would you do that? Why would you even bother doing that? Go for speed type or go for Ki Blast super type B. The speed type A is really good if you're like me and you just like to throw hands. And if you want more damage out of your supers, go for Ki Blast super type B. But anyways, this character, give him a try. He is criminally misunderstood, and I would recommend at least giving him a try. Experiment with him in training mode a little bit. Figure out what he can do. And take him online after you've gotten a good idea on how he plays. Don't just write him off because he doesn't play like other characters. Anyways, I hope you all enjoyed this video. If you like it, leave a like on the video, share the video around, and subscribe to my channel if you are new, and I will see you all next time.